I'm back in Swans Park today, and I'm with Graham Prohl, and Graham is an expert on swans, and he's going to tell me all about ringing swans in particular, because that's a job that he does on a regular basis. Graham, I know you don't work at this full time, but you do a hell of a lot of ringing, so tell me how it came about, who you're with, and what you do while you're ringing.
Oh, when my sons were small and I couldn't go away for weekends, I started getting back into bird watching, which I'd done as a kid with my mum. And the swans came about because I was reading Metal Rings, which Oscar Myrne had put on for a few years, and then I joined a ringing group. So I started training and I wanted to ring swans, and they said that if you're going to ring swans, do it properly. So that's with the Irish Midland Ringing Group. So I'm licensed by the National Parks and Wildlife Service and trained under the BTO system, and I put a metal ring and a colour ring on every swan I get near. So I've about 800 ringed, so at least 500 of them are around. So I do an annual survival project on the swans each year.
What's the furthest distance that you've found one of your birds away from Ireland?
With the swans, it's only last week that it happened, and it's a swan which we've now called Eunice, because it was released from Tymon Park in Bray Harbour in February this year, and at the beginning of March it was found in Cornwall, exhausted.
Wow.
But alive. So that has broken all our records. Usually we have one swan from Portobello breeding in Carlow. We have the occasional one up in Belfast and Newry, but normally they don't normally go more than 40 kilometres max. That seems to be like their maximum distance under normal circumstances.
Okay, so here in Swans Park, I assume you've ringed the swans in this park, yeah?
Yep, so we have a nest behind me. They don't always mate for life. So we had a swan killed on the building works behind us here recently. So CCHJ is sitting on the nest, and I assume it's the same male as last year. I just need to check that out now today. So I'll photograph the ring and confirm that it's the same one, and that the other lake is the one where the new swan is in.
Well, there's another swan that I can see over your shoulder on the lake. Would you tell me that they're a pair now?
This is a pair, yep.
Okay.
They won't allow any other swan on their lake.
Okay.
So they're really, really aggressive towards other swans, and in fact to other ducks, anything else on the lake. Social distancing for swans.
Lately, when I spoke with Lisa McCauley, who rescues swans, injured swans, she told me that they have a miserable life. Would you consider this to be true?
All nature has a very, very tough life. The survival rates for the cygnets is very low, particularly on this lake, because they've dredged it and there's no reeds and there's very little cover for the young cygnets. So last year they lost them all, but that's also the fact that they were very young parents, and the first time they have a nest, they tend not to be great at rearing cygnets. They get better as they get older.
Okay. Now, when would you expect the nest behind us to have chicks?
First week in May.
Okay. And how long does she stay on the eggs?
42 days from when she lays the last egg, which is why I sometimes stand up behind you and try and get an egg count. So if she lays 7, that's roughly 14 days plus 42. If she lays 11, that's 42 plus 22. So it just gives us an indication of the hatch date.
Oh, let's see. Okay. Now, do you think that she's actually on eggs, judging by the fact that you reckon she's going to hatch them sometime around the first or second week?
She is. When she's laying them, she tends not to be on the nest very often, and often the male could be on the nest. But once she starts incubating, and she starts incubating when all the eggs are laid, that means that they should all hatch on the same day. And that's really important, because if they hatch on different days, does she take the ones which have hatched to the water and abandon the eggs? So it's really important. So she'll get off the nest for maybe 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the afternoon, The warmer the weather, the more she'll be off the nest. Cold weather, she'll be on it all day.
Wonderful. It looks like we may have company in a moment. There's a swan just over your left shoulder there, Graham.
Coming over to say hello.
Coming over to say hello indeed.
Now that should be CBKS. Yep, that's CBKS, so that's the same male as last year.
Wonderful. Right, I'm going to ask you one final question, Graham. When the chicks hatch, at what stage do you actually ring them?
Oh, they need to be about 10 to 12 weeks. Unlike other birds, which when they hatch, their legs are the same thickness. They in fact, they're usually fatter as a chick and they stretch. Swans' legs are small and they have to grow, so they have to be about 6 kilo before we ring them. So it's about 10 to 12 weeks.
Terrific. Well, listen, Graham, thanks very much for your time today. I'm just going to swing over your shoulder and see if we can give people a little look at the nest in the background.
Absolutely.
On the tiny little island with all the building work in the background. Spreading her wings for my benefit, eh? Or his wings, rather.
That's the male.
Well, wonderful. And then you can just about see the female on the nest in the background. Thanks for watching Wildlife Wednesday, folks. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. If you did, I'd be grateful if you'd give it a like and subscribe to my channel. And when you do, don't forget to ring the bell so you're notified every time I upload new content. If you'd like to buy a copy of my safari book From Sunrise to Sunset, follow the link below the video. In the meantime, take care, stay safe. We're not quite out of the woods with COVID yet, but we're almost there, so take all the precautions that you can. Till next week, take care, stay safe, bye.